are you consistently bad with your sleep, or did you just go through a couple of nights of sleep deprivation, which I'm actually a fan of.
Interesting. You actively do sleep deprivation.
Yesterday I was up at 1:30 in the morning, right?
After like a very short window of sleep, or you
absolutely.
were still up until?
No. Like I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, my day started.
Wow. Okay.
And moved on.
Did you set an alarm?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
So I don't think there's any magic to those numbers. What is magic for sleep is consistency, for the most part. What I don't want people to be is slightly consistently underslept.
Okay, that's a good tip.
That's a problem, right? So if you're constantly, or you're just extreme variation, right? So it's like, yeah, I slept 4 hours last night and I slept 11 tonight. Like that is a recipe for disaster. So for me, it is very planned. Okay, I'm gonna go through short periods of sleep deprivation, and then I'm gonna pay that back by going through a solid 2.5 or 3 weeks of no less than 10 a night. Like these massive recovery phases we go through. And then you kind of reset a little bit, go back. So I wouldn't recommend, I think in the book we go through some sleep challenges, thirst challenges, same thing, hunger challenges, physical activity challenges, performance, like all of them. So I'm just taking the same thing that everyone would do with their health, with their food, and say, well, why not extend this to everything else? The problem is people will do these short sleep challenges, but then they won't pay it back, right? So if you go through short periods, say of fasting, you need to pay it back with feeding, right? If you go through a period, and this happens to me occasionally, and I'm sure many people that you associate with, where workload just gets out of control. I'm good at that. I'm actually good with people like going absolutely nuts with work for short periods of time. The difference is that has to then be paid back immediately, right? We have to pay back the exercise with recovery. We got to pay back the sleep deprivation. If I'm working with somebody and they're having a hard time getting to sleep, or it's like, yeah, I struggle, I'm up kind of on and on, one of the things I will do is let's go through some short-term sleep deprivation.
Interesting.
They're constantly sleep deprived, so let's make it terrible for a couple of days.
Is the goal that they would then, as long as they're scheduling it, that they would be able to sleep longer when they do sleep?
This is doing a couple of things. Number one, it kind of just feels like a reset. Because the next night when they go to bed, and say they go to bed at 11, by the time 11 comes, there's no question. Like they're absolutely ready to go. And we just broke that pathway, we're out. Now I wouldn't do this right before a competition, or anywhere close for the athletes I work with. This is something like, let's come back and do a reset afterwards and see if we can figure some things out. Number two, it helps them realize how terrible they feel. Because now I exacerbated the problem. So, okay, sleep's a problem, let's go as worst as we possibly can. Now how you feel, right? And then I don't have to convince them anymore that they're okay on 6 hours. But again, here's the difference. What I'm saying right now is planned variation, not randomization. Randomization is a problem with training, with food, with sleep. You need to have the resiliency to be able to handle, I think, in general normal person life. So like right now, my sleep is, the resiliency is being tested quite often because I have a baby. But so in my mind, it's like, okay, when those things happen and it's unplanned and it's not within my control, I know I can handle it. Why? Because I did the sleep deprivation stuff voluntarily and I was fine, I executed.